Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Zach, aka Keats39 here, back with the first actually NFL slate of the year, Thursday night football game with the Bills and the Rams. Honestly, can't ask for much better of a matchup to start out the year, especially for DFS. There's a lot of different plays we have in this game, so kind of gonna go through a breakdown of each team. Honestly, a lot to really like about this slate, so. I'll start with the Buffalo side. Not going to get too in depth with Josh Allen. Easily the top play on the slate. Um, Elite rushing ability, elite passing ability. Um, so the other fun part about this game is we actually have like two elite defenses, as well as two elite offenses. So should definitely be like a really really fun game to watch as well. I don't really have a lean on either side yet, but I think if I were picking, I'd pick Buffalo. But it's going to be a really, really fun game to watch. But yeah, Josh Allen, obviously best fantasy player in fantasy football right now. Um, yeah, it's you're playing Josh Allen. The decision is, are you playing him at captain or not? And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of plays on the slate and a lot of value plays. So definitely like very, very in play at captain. I will be going that route in cash personally. Next up, we have Stephon Diggs. I really, really like Diggs in this matchup. A lot of people are going to be scared off because of the name Jalen Ramsey. But that's more of a casual player thing. A lot of players will know that Jalen Ramsey does not shadow like he used to. Although in this game, I do expect like maybe a little more than normal because he likes to roam like the middle of the field. I don't really expect them to want to use him on as Isaiah McKenzie or Jameson Crowder when if he plays some. Um, so yeah, I think especially at this price tag, there's going to be a little bit lower end because I think people want to get up to Stafford as getting the second quarterback in the game. Or they're going to let up on this mid tier, which I don't blame them because it's pretty stacked as well. So, yeah, I really like Diggs. I guess honestly, in play for cash or GPP. For cash is kind of hard because I want Josh Allen at captain, but certainly not impossible. Um, Next up, we have preseason hype up guy in fantasy world is Gabe Davis. Um, I've seen everything with this guy between love and hate. Half the community loves him. Actually, I don't think everyone really hates him. I think some people kind of buffed up their expectations really, really high for him. Um, I'm not quite there, but I really, really like Gabe Davis. I have a ton of him in best ball. Um, Anytime he slipped to like that fifth round, mid fifth round range, I was usually all over him. Um, I just think he's such a really good player. Finally getting into that, he's going to play every single snap for them. Whereas years past, like he was really rotating with Emmanuel Sanders, which I never understood. Emmanuel Sanders was a fine player, just aging, just retired yesterday, I think maybe the day before, after a really really good career. Um, but yeah, it's definitely Gabe's time to shine. He's going to score a ton of touchdowns on this offense. So um, price at 7.2, I believe. Yeah, I think very, very strong play. Easy to stack with Josh Allen. Um, yeah, I put him right behind Diggs. Like Diggs is probably going to see 12 to 15 targets, I guess. Gabe, I'd guess like 8 to 10. But he's just more that red zone option. Although Steph Diggs is elite touchdown scorer as well. So, yeah, I think all three, everyone playing with Josh Allen is always in play to score a touchdown. So they're going to score a ton of points. So love them. Running back is where this does get difficult. I don't have much interest in Buffalo's backfield. I really think they're going to run a true three-man committee. Singletary mainly between the 20s. James Cook coming in on obvious pass downs, and Zach Moss playing a lot of the red zones. Although a matchup like this, I could see Singletary maybe getting a little more in the red zone than like a game against the Jets. Don't really expect them to just want to pound the ball up the middle. Although like it's inside the 5, I will expect a ton of Zach Moss. So Price at 7K. Like I definitely prefer Gabe Davis. Him versus Dawson Knox is really close. I probably prefer him over Dawson Knox. But yeah, the Rams haven't gotten that price range that's criminally priced, so prefer him over all of these guys or all of these two. But yeah, don't have much interest. I think Moss and Cook are both in play for GPPs because they're just sub 3K. Moss playing in the red zone is going to have touchdown opportunities if it actually happens, which I do believe will. And Cook in this high paced game, if they were to fall behind, I think that will help him out. Yeah, just they're both in play. 2.8, like if he is their third down back, you get 3 catches for 30 yards, and you're really, really happy with that. So I think, yeah, those two I prefer over Singletary, but Singletary's fine, just not very exciting. Don't have any interest in either defense in this one. I'm not going to talk much about kickers, but anyone knows that kickers are always in play in showdowns, even in the most boring play ever. Yeah, very, very in play. Probably going to top play of the slate for me is Isaiah McKenzie. Excuse excuse me. Yeah, Isaiah McKenzie expected to take over the full-time slot role. I think that Crowder could play some. I think even Shakir could get some reps. And they go like Diggs in the slot sometimes, but fully expect Isaiah McKenzie to play the vast majority of that role. We saw him against the Patriots last year. Take that role, 12 or 11 catches on 12 targets, 125 yards, a touchdown. 2.4, he's just such a safe play. Like if he plays every down, one, he's playing Josh Allen. Two is they like just design plays for him. So like you're gonna see a ton of jet sweep type plays. Not like crazy excited about him running over the middle. Although like we saw against the Patriots, if you watch that game, like he did do that. It wasn't like he caught 11 jet sweeps. Like he was running deep crossers is really where he thrives. Just so fast, so elusive. So yeah, saw him run corner routes, scoring touchdowns. Like he can do it all, but his floor is just by catching jet sweeps and stuff, and you feel confident he's going to get there in those. So yeah, I think that's it. You could take a stab at Shakir, like I said. Guess I should talk a little more Dawson Knox. He's definitely in play. I never played Dawson Knox, and I always regret it. He's just such a touchdown reliant player, and I hate that, especially priced at 7K. But he is very good at scoring his touchdowns. He's very, very strong. And he's kind of just like an afterthought. Like when you think of Buffalo, like you're scared, really scared of Stephon Diggs. You're really scared of Josh Allen. It's like in the red zone. You're really scared of Gabe Davis. You're really scared about the jet sweep from Isaiah McKenzie now. So like when they run those play action plays, he's just like forgotten about it and always wide open. So definitely in play. He's GPP only for me though, just being such a touchdown reliant player. But yeah, that's the Buffalo side. On to the Rams side. They have a lot more question marks, I guess I'd say. Start with Cooper Kupp. So I said Josh Allen was the best fantasy football player last year. Cooper Kupp was. He was just like absolutely unheard of incredible. Yeah, you want to play Cooper Kupp. I'm not. Buffalo has a really, really good defense as well. No Tre'Davious White, but they added some pass rushers, which will probably help. Honestly, a guy like Cooper Kupp. Yeah, just elite play. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Stafford, I think, could come in a little lower ownership just because people keep talking about his elbow. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But price at 10.8, obviously very elite play in a high scoring game. Definitely, he is like I've ranked them Allen, Kupp, Stafford easily. I think Stafford and Diggs are very close. Like I might even prefer just the savings for Diggs, but yeah, can't argue Matt Stafford in a shootout type game, which I don't think that like Buffalo's run defense is meh, but I think it's going to be better this year. So, yeah, definitely like Stafford. Cam Akers when it gets tough. I've read everything between them having a committee to like. It seems like they always want Cam Akers to be a bell cow back. Like he always gets his effort, gets a chance to be. Obviously, last year coming off an Achilles injury, so don't really blame him for how bad he was in the playoffs. But 8K is just a lot. I mean, he doesn't catch passes all that well. He's fine at it. Um, but like if it gets down and go pass only, I don't know if they'll play him or Darrell Henderson. So like I think it's gonna be kind of a decent sized committee. So I probably prefer Darrell Henderson at 4.8 over Cam Akers, but he's very, very live to score touchdowns in a high scoring game, so he's fine. Now we go to the new addition, Allen Robinson. One of my favorite plays on the slate. 6.2 is just criminal. He has this like higher um, Vegas odds for catches for yards than like Gabe Davis, and very close to Stephon Diggs. If I might have that wrong actually, but I know he's higher than Gabe Davis, 1,000 cheaper. As I mentioned, no Tre'Davious White, which would be who he saw a lot of. So yeah, probably my favorite play, like core play for me. Him, honestly, the core for me easy is Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp, A-Rob, Isaiah McKenzie. Like I just think that start at 4 is so easy, so easily affordable. But yeah, I love Allen Robinson. His thing his whole career has always been quarterback play, and he finally gets an elite one. So definitely expect a pretty monster season from A-Rob. Not a Tyler Higbee. He's kind of similar to Dawson Knox, but does have like a $1,500 discount. Not exciting. So I probably won't have much, but he's very live to score a touchdown. He's actually in my big GPP win last year, my $250,000 win. So I definitely will have a lot of love for the guy. Yeah, 5.6 is kind of a lot. So definitely tough to play. Matt Gay, love Matt Gay, obviously. Talked about Darrell Henderson. So yeah, no Van Jefferson is why this gets a little tricky. You're gonna see. My guess is a ton of Ben Skirnick over Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell, I wish he's a more fun player. But yeah, like when you look at Ben Skirnick's player profile, very boring. But the team talks about how he is similar to Robert Woods in his run blocking, which they do value a lot because they do play 3 wide receiver sets at time. I think if it was the most in the league last year, I could be wrong on that, but yeah, so they want those good run blockers at receiver. Where Tutu Atwell is this, honestly, he might be the smallest player in the league. But he's just kind of like the fun, fast guy. Yeah, 5'9", 155. But he does have really high draft capital, so I can't imagine that they just drafted him to return. But they obviously value both these guys because neither of them played in the preseason a single snap. So I would expect mostly Ben Skirnick, but I do expect Tutu Atwell to come in and get some like gadget type plays. It's like the similar Isaiah McKenzie plays, but just can't be in the slot as much because you have the best slot receiver in the NFL. So definitely does make it tough. And finally, Bryson Hopkins, I think, is in play. We saw him have a big Super Bowl game, actually, making some big catches at the end of the game. I think it's at least possible that they run a decent amount of tight end sets, and he is a pretty elite athlete at the tight end position. Sorry. But yeah, I think, and like I could see them going 2 tight ends in the red zone, something like that, and him catching a touchdown, and he's $200. So, or if anything happens to Tyler Higbee, he's the only backup on the roster. So, excuse me. Yeah, so I think he's definitely in play. And the last guy I guess I'll bring up is Lance McCutcheon. Everyone that plays preseason knows who he is, very elite in the preseason. He's definitely the more fun player than Ben Skirnick. Wow. But he barely made the roster. He had to have that massive preseason. So I would be surprised if he's on the field. But Definitely a very, very strong receiver. It's really good in college. Not too bad in the metrics either. So, yeah, that's going to do it. As always, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Later.